Hello and welcome to this week's special presentation. My name's Jim Penna and I'm happy to be presenting this week's topic, which is titled Daily Boomers. 11 years ago to the day, November 10th, 2006, Dr. DeLito wrote an essay called How I Use the Stock Viewer. And in that essay, he spoke of several different ways he likes to use the information from the stock viewer. And in that classic essay, he wrote about sorting from everything from VST, which is the default sort to find good quality overall stocks. He mentioned sorting by relative safety. And as I scroll down to our point tonight, Dr. D talked about, speaking of big moves, the next thing he likes to do in the stock viewer page is sort by percent price change. I hasten back to that essay and share that today because yesterday I had the pleasure of conferring with Dr. DeLito about this week's topic, and he mentioned to me in the course of conversation that he's always used VectorVest in this fashion over the years, where we're able to sort and look for those big winners based on percentage price change. And it reminded me of this essay, and I wanted to go back and share it with you today. Now, as recently as just a couple of weeks ago, Dr. D added 2 searches to our Unisearch tool called the Daily Boomers. Let's fast forward from 2006 to earlier this week. On Monday evening, November 6th, my colleague Todd Schaefer presented the Daily Color Guard report and showed the leaders of our all VectorVest portfolio competition that we're currently running. Now, one trade stood out that Todd recognized out of subscriber entry number 397, who was up over 70% in the first week, not entirely, but mostly due to one trade. And Todd went on to highlight that trade, and here it is. Entry number 397 got to a 79% gain based on this trade on November the 3rd. He went out and purchased 3,270 shares of DCIX, paid just $4.26 a share. The following Monday, he went out and sold those shares at $16.11. That's a pretty impressive short-term trade opportunity. Now, entry 397 did not use Daily Boomers search to find this stock, but what we want to focus on tonight is how we can use the VectorVest program to focus on stocks that can present this type of opportunity. Again, the company in question was DCIX, or Diana Containerships, Inc. It closed on Thursday, November the 2nd at $2.50. It opened on Friday at $4.26, and that's November the 3rd, and traded as high as $28.48 on Monday, November the 6th. That's over a 660% gain from that opening trade up to the high of November the 6th. Now that trade caught Dr. D's eye. And so here we are now to show a technique that will help you find these daily boomers. In fact, my colleague Jerry D'Ambrosio, while hosting the Jockey Club, was able to capture a 60% gain on this very stock earlier this week. Which begs the question, just how do we find them? Well, here's an example. There are, of course, different types of investors with very different styles and objectives. So let's start here with what we call the gunslinger, or the more active or aggressive type trader. Day trading, short-term swing trading is the objective of the gunslinger. And so here, what I've done is taken a screenshot from the morning of November the 3rd, which was Friday morning a week ago at 9 a.m. Now, if you use VectorVest real-time, you have a great advantage leading up to the opening bell, because here's an illustration of how to recognize these trades as we enter into the trading day. Now, again, this was taken at 9 a.m. using the Daily Boomers VST search, simply meaning that the stocks are sorted by value, safety, and timing. On that morning at 9 a.m., only 4 stocks met the criteria, which is pretty basic, using our $100,000 moving average volume, no contra ETFs, no indexes or pink sheets, no contra ETFs. That's all pretty basic standard VectorVest parameters, but the key here is that the stock had to be greater than $2 a share and that the stock's percent price change had to be greater than 10%. As we can see here at 9 o'clock last Friday morning, these stocks all met that criteria. Now for the gunslinger, again, who is usually looking for that shorter term time frame, had he gone in pre-market to catch these stocks that were rising in price, we can see some pretty impressive returns. This is if he had bought them at 9 a.m. or pre-market and held them through the close of trading on Friday afternoon. Now, I want to be clear that had you waited till the open, you'll see that we already noted that the beginning price or the opening price on Friday for DCIX was $4.26. So you still had a very nice gain. Some of these other stocks, you actually might have been just a smaller gain or down just fractionally had you waited to the open. Okay, but here we're looking at just a theoretical scenario where you'd have gone in, and if you wanted to take a shot at one or several of these stocks, here are the results or the opportunity that would have presented itself. And so as we go through tonight, we'll see a trading plan that we'll put into place to help us out. So just another look at the results. Had you gone ahead and held those same four stocks, opening or the pre-opening on November the 3rd, and held them through Friday's trade date, you see we even have a more impressive gain here. As we know, DCIX, as we mentioned, traded as high as 28.5, closed on Monday afternoon at $20.19. So again, this is just an illustration of some of the opportunities that can present themselves. But keep in mind, as the gunslinger, you must be disciplined. You have to have a plan so that this doesn't happen to you, right? So again, we already noted that the stock closed at 2.5 on Thursday, opened at 426, traded as high as 28.5, and closed right around $20 a share. So if you are an active trader who's a little more aggressive and you bought a stock at 4.25 and it traded as high as 28.5, now even on Monday it opened extremely high. It did close lower as the day progressed, but you must have a plan in place and be disciplined so that this doesn't happen to you, that you give up a majority of those gains that you had grasped. Now, even in this case, as I record, the stock's trading right around 11.60, 11.5 or so, and that's still over 100% gain from that opening price on Friday morning. But the key is not to let this happen. We've got to take advantage of these trades when we can and lock in those profits. Which leads me to our trading plan for our Midnight Cowboys. Now, our Midnight Cowboys are those who are not in front of their computers trading throughout the trading day. They're not sitting there watching stocks tick by tick. And for the Midnight Cowboy, Dr. D has actually created a trading system that I'd like to take some time to share with you now. So from here, I'm going to jump right into the program. I'm going to begin by going to the Unisearch tab along the main toolbar, and let's go ahead and take a look at those searches we're talking about. The daily boomers are located in the searches price volume folder. So if I click there, we have two choices. Again, we have daily boomers sorted by VST or daily boomers sorted simply by percent price gain. The searches are the same, it's just the sort that's different. I want to focus on daily boomers VST right now. So again, we saw the parameters earlier and we took a look, and the stock has to be greater than $2, and again that price percent change has to be greater than 10%. So if we run that search now, we can take a look at some of the stocks that come up. Again, they are sorted by VST. If I slide over here a little bit, you'll see the VST ratings and the type of stocks that come back. Now, sometimes these are familiar stocks. J.C. Penna is there, had good earnings. As we record here, they had good earnings today, and so their percent price change is up pretty nicely today. Sometimes there'll be stocks you may have never heard of here. But again, this is what presents the opportunities for these explosive trades and these daily boomers. And so the power of VectorVest allows us to go in and actually automate a trading system that we can employ to take advantage of these stocks. So I'm going to go up to the main toolbar and choose the back tester so we can go ahead and implement Dr. D's strategy. So what we have here are two back tests that I've already created, and I just want to show the results of these tests and give you an idea of the results. Again, by finding these opportunities, these daily boomers, let's take a look at some of the numbers. So what we've done here is we used the daily boomers VST sort, and we used the profit locker as our stop criteria. Now the profit locker percentages we used were 40-20, and I'll get more into that in a moment when I show the summary report. In this case, we are not using market timing. And we began this search. Dr. D actually created this the back test, and we're running that one. He created it back on October the 31st of 2016. We ran it for a year up until yesterday's close, and had some pretty impressive numbers. The total return, just over $50,000 or 50.91%. That's an annualized rate of return of just under 50%, as it's just over a year. Our total commission, only $875. That's not too bad, not as actively traded as I thought it would be. And then our drawdown was only a 10% drawdown. And so we've got that nice 50% annualized rate of return. How did we get there? Well, here are the stocks that we're currently holding in the portfolio. And actually, some of these stocks have been in here for a while. BRCD has been in since November of 2016. Another TX has been in there since 2016. And so we've got some nice winners. And again, the profit locker coming through here and showing some nice returns on the daily Boomers VST. What we also did was run the back tests. We tried it over 2 years. So using the same parameters, we were able to do even better over 2 years. We have 104% return. Now again, the trading activity does pick up, but I'm going to go through step by step the exact trading system here that is built. So our annualized rate of return over 2 years, 51.5%. And again, the drawdowns on an aggressive strategy of this sort are actually pretty good. Let's take a look at the setup for our back test. We're simply buying long. We're using the search Daily Boomers VST. Our stop criteria is the profit locker stop using 40 and 20%. We're going to try to maintain 10 positions. We'll automatically replace those closed positions, and we'll invest the average value of the portfolio. So that's it, pretty basic. If I close this out and we go to reports and we look at our summary report, we can get a little more detail on how these trades progressed. With our theoretical $100,000 portfolio, we see we did have 29 winners versus 20 losers. Again, that's a winning percentage of just about 59%, 59.18%. So we've got more winners than losers. We've got some nice trades here. Our very best trade was on DVAX, $6,100. HTBX took a hit at $5,200. And again, our commission for that 1 year was $875. We scroll through, we see the value of the portfolio, the equity curve there, moving nicely to the upside. Yeah, there's some drawdown, but all equity curves over a period of time will have some. And what I like about it is our current positions by industry are actually pretty well balanced, and our current positions are also dollar weighted, so we've dollar averaged in throughout our portfolio. And then finally, we've got our back test settings for the Daily Boomers VST Profit Locker. And again, here is the key. There's a couple of very key indicators here that I've actually put onto a slide to emphasize. And so here's a slide of that same backtest settings for the Daily Boomers VST Profit Locker backtest I just showed. A couple of key points here. Again, we are going long. We're not using any market timing rules. The profit locker stop, again, is a 40-20%. And the key, I think, to the success of the backtest and to the trading system here is that when opening new positions, we will try to open just one position per day, as opposed to building an entire portfolio on any given day. So once a day, we're going to place a trade in this trading system, so we're only going to open that one position per day. Remember, we're not using any market timing, so disregard the turn action because we're not using any market timing rules. And then finally here, the duplicate policy is important, an important key as well. Don't repurchase the same stock for 1 day after the sale so that you're not buying back the same stock on the same trading day. We want to avoid that. And as we head into Veterans Day weekend, thank you to all who have served or are serving. To everyone else, thank you for taking the time. And if there's anything we can do to be of assistance, don't hesitate to call 888-658-7638. And thank you again.